Jim, a tough game to analyse really today. You had a lot of the ball, but you ultimately lost the game. What do you put that down to?
I think in the final third we weren't great. You know, we had a lot of opportunities. I was pleased enough with our overall shape and the way that we moved it from back to front. I think we were just missing that extra pass and that extra option in midfield. But first half I thought it broke down a little bit too much on the front three. Taking too many touches and not moving the ball quick enough. And then in the second half, I think the reason we didn't score is because the quality wasn't there in the final third. I mean, whether it be the cross, the set play, or the shooting. And I'd imagine that statistically that we had lots of opportunities, but most of them were off target.
And also the goal you conceded so early in the game, but I'm sure, knowing you, you'll have planned all week about how to handle Tom Denton, but he pops up at that far post and gives him the lead. Well,
it's not so much about handling Tom Denton, and Tom Denton's a good player, he knows that. I mean, the quality of the cross was great. But this is not the first goal. You know, again, I was really pleased today, and people say, well, I'm pleased we didn't see from a set play. We know what we're doing on set plays because when we're organised, but this is the 5th goal now we've scored from a cross, and the 4th in a row that we've conceded where the ball's been too easily crossed from the left, and the centre forward's got an empty space at the back post. Is that because Scott Luxby's not fit? We worked on crosses because if you're a team that's had 5 games and only conceded 4 goals and they've all been from crosses, the one thing you work on is defending crosses. You consolidate then your set plays, you consolidate the way that you play, and so coming into today's game I was confident that we would restrict them. I was probably more confident we would restrict them because they played Pennicott off the left instead of a second striker. So, but that's where our Jordan Keighren needed to lead the centre halves just to look after Denton and get more involved in midfield because we lacked that extra player to connect with Niall Bell from Sam and Paul. But we corrected that as the game went on, and we seemed to then have an ability to play through the lines better. And I think we got Niall Bell, Matty Warburton to some great positions with some great opportunities, and unfortunately they haven't really worked the keeper well enough.
You went with Frank Mulhern today. Was he 100% fit?
Well, that's what he's telling me, and you know, I had a chat with him. It was a hard one on Jake, but we knew that the way that they would shape up that we would most likely not be hitting the central strikers. They've got 2 big centre halves and they've got like a physical midfield, so we wanted to play either side, and the most likely side that would be open, and it turned out to be, was the left. You know, whether that would be Smalley or whether that be, but no, Frank didn't look himself, and that's disappointed me because when he's done incredibly well to make himself available after what looked like a nasty injury. But I think that he's got to be more honest, and we've got to be maybe a bit better in them situation. We like I said, it was we expected him to be more of a platform for us. So forget about that. But when he did have the ball, and when Warby had the ball, 2 side players, I thought it broke down too much on him. Whereas with Niall Bell, even when he had a crowd around him, seemed to do much better. So I'm no surprise that he got man of the match because his overall contribution in a difficult environment was really good.
Yeah, I mean, he was the real positive today, wasn't he? And I mean, all it needed was a goal to cap that performance, really.
Well, look, he's worked really hard. He's the one player that I've spent 20-25 minutes at the end of every training session this week, so the kid wants to learn. He's got some habits that I think that have been given to him by previous managers that we need to get out of him. But I thought today he showed that he can be a penetrator, and getting behind teams. I think he showed he can be a platform player. So in that regard, I think I think he's got an opportunity here, and he's still a young lad learning a lot and trying to correct some of the issues. And the one thing I like about him is that he comes to me and asks, and he wants to do extra work on it, and so that is credit to him. And I think with Frank being fit, the natural thing would have been to put Frank back down the middle. But I thought Niall deserved that opportunity, the way he's trained all week and the way he's prepared himself, the assist he got from Matty Warburton. So I'm really pleased because there was a fan behind me, and the first name he came out with that we should be getting rid of, or the squad's not good enough, was Niall Bell. Poetic justice, and just as he was being announced as man of the match.
I've got to ask you, there were some scenes at the end there, and there was obviously some arguments going on between yourself and one or two supporters. How do you sum that up?
There was no arguments going on between us. There was a gentleman made a comment about the squad not being good enough, so I asked him to come down, and I asked him, who's not good enough? And he hesitated quite a lot. I said, come on, you're telling me the squad's not good enough? They're all not good enough? Who's not good enough? And then he didn't seem to know who. So I understand in the heat of the moment they're going to make comments, and I'm quite happy to engage with fans, whether it be in the Spar supermarket in Devonport, or fans forum, or on the side of the pitch. And as long as they're reasonable and he talked to me in a sensible way, and I'll talk to them in a sensible way. And he couldn't really justify who he didn't think. He made a good point about Frank shouldn't be played on the wing and stuff like that. But I said, oh, you're telling me the squad's not good enough? Come down and criticise me tactics if you think I've not got the team right, or I'm playing 4-3-3 and we should be playing 4-4-2. But don't criticise the squad if you really can't. And the first name he came out with, surprisingly, was Niall Bell, who got man of the match. So some people are watching thinking Niall played well, and there's other people using him as a scapegoat for us not winning the game. So, and I think that's a bit unfair on the kid. And there was another gentleman who unfortunately started swearing at me for no reason in front of me children, and I asked the stewards to sort it out and they didn't. So I think some fans then decided they would say, you know, ask the stewards to sort things out. So it's no big deal. I mean, I don't read message boards, I don't listen to people who snipe. If somebody wants to come up to me and have a chat and be positive, I'll speak to them, you know. And there was 3 gentlemen that made comments, and I sort of engaged with them in a sensible way and asked them what their opinion was, and I spoke to them. If they go away and have the same opinion, fine. If they feel that they've been respected their opinion and the dialogue's got there and they understand my position, I understand their position, fine. What happened after that was down to an old gentleman with a crutch who started swearing for no particular reason. So that's a shame on him, really.
You go to Kidderminster now on Monday. I think they're drawn today again against Keighren Ashton, and probably not the Kidderminster we saw last season. So you go there maybe with a bit more confidence than we have previously.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure that game was at Keighren, so I mean, Kidderminster are a different animal at home. I think this year they've changed shape. Obviously, we'll have to do our homework. We have been watching them, but and to see if they change. But the manager likes to play some variation of 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. And I'd imagine that when they went to Keighren, that it was kind of. I wouldn't imagine it being a free-scoring game, quite a tight game, and you know they would have cancelled each other out, and it would have been probably just one opportunity between them, or very. I mean, what was the score in the game?
I think 1-1 in the end.
Yeah, so you can imagine that being a tight game because they're both looking to emulate England in the World Cup, who got to not the greatest squad in the world, got to the World Cup semi-final, and they're probably seeing that Chorley are doing something similar and getting themselves to the top of the league. So a lot of teams are going for defence first and build from there. But Kidderminster, it's a tough place to go, especially with a full-time side that'll probably be in training tomorrow, doing the recovery strategies. We've obviously got to pick up the pieces and organise ourselves basically on the coach and when we get there. But that's the challenges of this month. We knew it was going to be an extremely demanding month. Guiseley at home, Alfreton home, they're not easy games because they've got experienced managers, well-stocked squad with players who've done the business at this level and higher. So we shouldn't be fooled by the perception that they're weaker clubs than ours. I mean, they're in the business of doing something this season. They've got people that back them, and Kidderminster have been working really hard. You said they're a different animal, new manager, different tactics, but very much the same squad of players, apart from the 1 or 2 they lost, like Sanoop and Nigatwala. But they'll have Ironside, they'll have Bradley, they'll have the experienced O'Connor at the back with Horsfall. So they'll be very much a similar team to what we played before, and we've always found it difficult there. We've always tried to engage them in an open game to our detriment. So what we have to go there is just be nice and solid, to bring all the positives from today, and then hopefully then we just find that 1 or 2 players that just deliver that little bit of quality from a set play, or that bit of quality from open play, and then I'm sure we'll come away with a positive result.
That's great. Commiserations today. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.